Hello everyone, I am Sancha Ira Jimenez from Group 4. We will be discussing the anatomy of the horse. I am your first reporter and I'll be handling the following topics: the evolution of the horse in the colors, superficial markings, and their guides. Evolution of the horse. Just like humans, horses also have their own evolution, which started 58 million years ago in North America in Eocene period of Caenozoic era. The ancestor of horse was Tetraclionodon, which is included in the order Condylarthra of class Mammalia, and it was a five-toothed animal. However, this animal is not that known, and most records showed Eohippus as the ancestor. Tetraclionodon gave rise to Hycotherium or Eohippus, which then gave rise to Orolippus, which in turn gave rise to Epihippus. These three arises on Eocene period. The evolution continued to Mesohippus, Merychippus, Pliohippus until it reached the current form of horses, which are the Equus. The fossils of horses that live in different periods shows that the body parts exhibit progressive changes towards a particular direction. These are called evolutionary trends. These are the following: increase in size, in the length of limbs, neck, preorbital region or face, the length and the size of third digit, molarization of premolars, development of high crown in premolars and molars, then formation of diastema, increase in the size and complexity of brain, from plantigrade to unguligrade gait, disappearance of lateral digits and enlargement of hoof in the middle digit, development of springing mechanism, strengthening and stiffening of the back, and transition from browsing habit to grazing habit. It is easy to indicate those trends kay mostly man ay physical changes. If we are to observe the picture, we can pinpoint easily the differences of the down horse from the modern horse. Now let's move on to the fossil horses. The first one is Eohippus or Hyracotherium. It was the first horse known as the dawn horse. Its salient features are the following. First, it was the smallest horse with a height of only 12 inches. It was a browser since it lived in the forest. It is used to eat soft vegetation. It had 4 digits in the forelimb, namely the second, third, fourth, and fifth, with the first two represented by a splint, and 3 digits in the hind limb, the second, third, and fourth, in which the first and fifth digits were also represented in the form of a splint. Its limbs were digitigrade, and it has no springing mechanism. Its back was arched and flexible. Its preorbital region was not elongated. Its dentition was brachiodont, that is, low-crowned. It contained 44 teeth, and its cerebral hemispheres were small and Then the Mesohippus, which was an Oligocene horse. It was on the main line of evolution leading to the modern horses. Mesohippus was generally called an intermediate horse. It was about the size of a sheep. The back was still arched. All the legs were provided with only 3 digits, but in the forelimb, the fifth digit was represented by a splint and the middle was prominent. Paunti-unti makikita natin ang mga pagbabago na nabanggit sa evolutionary trends because the limbs of Mesohippus became elongated because of the lengthening of metatarsals and metacarpals, and its preorbital region was in the process of elongation, which lead to the formation of diastema. The last 2 premolars were molar-like, and the brain exhibit some complexity over that of Hyracotherium, and the cerebral hemispheres were enlarged and convoluted. The Meiohippus, which is more or less likely to Mesohippus, but it was slightly larger in size. Meiohippus was the direct ancestor for modern horses, which gave rise to 2 lines. One line led to Parahippus, which gave rise to the modern horse, and the other one gave rise to Anchitherium, which in turn gave rise to Hypohippus. Then, Merychippus. Merychippus means that we are getting nearer to the current form of horses as more of those evolutionary trends took place. Merychippus was the first three-toed grazer. Iba ang Merychippus sa ancestor nila, kaya ang Merychippus mas adapt sila sa grassland, while yung mga nauna sa kanya ay sa forest. Kaya browser sila, samantalang grazer naman ang Merychippus. Ang Merychippus ang first grazer in horse evolution. The legs contain 3 toes. The middle toe alone touched the ground. The hoof was well developed in the middle digit. The muscles of the limb form an efficient spring mechanism. Its preorbital region was progressively elongated. It has a well-developed diastema, and its dentition was high-crowned. The cerebral hemisphere were still more complex and convoluted. Pliohippus descended from Merychippus and was on the main line of evolution leading to the modern horse. It was the first one-toed horse. The side toes were much reduced and were represented by split bones. Finally, the Equus, the modern horse. The full bloom of evolutionary trends can be seen in this horse. The transition from Pliohippus to Equus involves the following changes. The height is increased from 40 inches to 60 inches. The middle toe is enlarged and has a well-developed hoof. The side toes, the second and fourth, were represented as splint bones. It is well adapted for grazing, and the brain is enlarged and the cerebral hemispheres are much folded. Then take a look on the picture. We can see the plantigrade, digitigrade, and unguligrade foot. The dawn horse exhibit the digitigrade, which is a paw similar to dogs, while the Equus exhibit ungulate foot or hoof that we can see in horses today. We also have here the horse's mouth adapted for grazing. They have incisors adapted to cut grass. Their premolars and molars are strong and gravelled to effectively green the grass. Their upper and lower jaws have different widths, and the chewing surface of the upper and lower cheek teeth has an inclination of about 10 to 15 degrees. They also have deep jaw to accommodate the long hypsodont teeth, and interdental space to increase the face length allows horses to graze whilst being able to look out for predators.